In this week's tutorial, we'll learn how to adjust Sidepull Caliper brakes, which are found on most road bikes. For this job, depending on your bike, you'll need a set of 5 or 6 mm Allen wrenches, a set of open-end metric wrenches sized 8 or 9 mm, a 14 mm centering wrench, some rough sandpaper for resurfacing the brake pads, a light lubricant like Tri-Flow, and an optional third hand tool for adjusting the cable tension. First, you'll want to make sure that your brake levers are properly positioned. Check the handlebar wrapping tutorial for a more detailed procedure. It's also a good idea to make sure that your wheels are properly centered in the frame before you begin. Many road braking systems have a quick release mechanism that loosens the brake enough so that you can remove the wheels. If not, you'll have to loosen the pinch bolt enough to give the cable some slack. Now remove your wheel and resurface the pads with your sandpaper to remove road grime. Reinstall the wheel and check to make sure that your pads are lined up with the rim. Some pads have a curved washer that allows you to set the toe-in adjustment. To avoid squealing noises while you ride, try to set the rear of the pad so there is about a 1 or 2 mm gap when the front of the pad contacts the rim. To set the cable tension, first make sure your barrel adjuster is threaded all the way down. If you have a cable quick release system, make sure it is set to the tightest setting, where the brake arms are closest together. If you don't have a quick release, you can always back off the barrel adjuster a few turns so that it can be easily loosened later. Now adjust the cable tension by loosening and tightening the pinch bolt. The third hand tool makes this easier by holding the cable for you while you make the adjustment. This is a personal preference, as it sets how far you'll have to pull the lever before the brakes contact the rim. Some people prefer very responsive brakes and set them really tight, while others prefer a bit more slack. I like to have the brake contact the rim when I've pulled the lever about a quarter of the way. If your brake unit is really stiff or too loose, you'll have to adjust the main center bolt. Some brakes have two nuts on the front side that turn against each other, while other systems like this are adjusted by loosening off the back bolt, adjusting the front bolt, and then tightening it against the back bolt. The adjustment is correct when the brakes are tight but function easily. Now check the brake centering. Both pads should contact the rim at the same time. If not, you can adjust this by loosening off the back bolt and then by placing the centering tool on the flats closest to the frame. Center the brakes with the wrench and then tighten the bolt. This sometimes takes a few tries because the brake will move a little bit while you're tightening. Once the brake is set up, drop a tiny bit of light oil on the pivot points. Wipe off any excess and be careful not to get any oil on the rim surface or brake pads.